Are you making this one mistake with your coffee as a carnivore? First, I wanted to share my favorite coffee order from Starbucks. They've got their Christmas cups. This is a grande decaf hot Americano. I like to get it extra hot. So it's basically decaf coffee with hot water, and then I get a half an inch of heavy cream steamed, and then I put a little bit of cinnamon powder on top. No sugar in it, just cinnamon powder. That is so cozy and comfy, and it makes me feel like I'm having a latte for a really long time. This is almost a part 2 to yesterday's post. If you haven't seen that one, go back to it. I talked about the silly mistakes I was making as a carnivore that was keeping me out of ketosis. I was eating carnivore compliant things, but I was snacking, and I was snacking on the wrong things, and I was not staying in ketosis when I wanted to. So for a really long time, I was getting this was my carnivore order at Starbucks. I was getting a venti decaf latte. So it was 2 little shots of espresso, and this is a grande cup, but I was getting this much espresso and then this whole big thing of whole milk. A lot of milk. And I wasn't even connecting that there was a whole lot of milk, and I was getting a huge, basically, sugar bomb. I was enjoying it and whatever. It was the thing that made me stay compliant with carnivore. It was what I would call a buffer. I was never in ketosis, and that was why. That was the mistake that I was making. Now, do you need to be in ketosis to lose weight? No, not necessarily. You can dip in and out of it. But most of us on the carnivore diet like to get into ketosis. It is a nice, efficient state for our body to be fat adapted and for us to know that we are burning fat. So let me get to what mistake you might be making with your coffee as a carnivore or somebody that's trying to be in ketosis. If you are getting a coffee either out or you're making a coffee at home and you are drinking it throughout the day, what you are doing is keeping yourself in a fed state. Now, this is different if you are drinking just a black coffee, but if you are drinking heavy whipping cream and you are sipping on it throughout the day, thinking that even if you have like 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, mostly I'm talking about if you're sipping on this one coffee all throughout the day, you are constantly keeping yourself in a fed state. And it's not that you're like spiking your insulin, but heavy whipping cream has an insulin effect, right? So if you're drinking that all day long, you are staying in a fed state. And it's almost like when you take a sip, you're almost putting your fat burning in pause, because you are staying in a fed state, and that can affect your ketosis. Now, if you find yourself wanting to sip throughout the day, that's where you have your water and your electrolytes. Maybe if you need some flavor, maybe you do a little squeeze of lemon. That's what you should drink throughout the day so that you are not constantly bringing your insulin up with your heavy whipping cream. So in this way, you can have one intentional cup of coffee, finish it, and then move on with your day. I tend to and it's not for everybody, I make hot water and I sip hot water throughout the day, and that feels like I'm getting that like warm ritual of having something like that I can enjoy, especially in cold weather. I even put my electrolytes in it unflavored. Again, it's an acquired taste, not for everybody. But if you're gonna sip all day long, sip on your electrolytes, sip on your water. Leave your coffee for small frames of time in your day. Not sipping on that heavy whipping cream all day long will have a great impact on your energy and will also help you to keep those cravings down and stay in ketosis. I always say this, and it's worth mentioning and reminding that these are the things that are like the smaller rocks. You ever hear about that analogy of like when you're filling up a container, you're going to start with the big rocks, right? You're going to start with the most important things, and then you're going to go to the little pebbles, and then you're going to go to like the small little granules, and then you're going to go to the sand, and then you're going to go to the water. So this is a smaller rock. It's not a huge one, and it's something that maybe you earn the right to tweak as you move along in the carnivore journey. If this is keeping you happy and satiated throughout the day so that you're choosing carnivore friendly meals in the first couple weeks of carnivore, go for it. Absolutely go for it. But if a couple weeks into it, you're like, I'm still having cravings, I need to clean things up a little bit, that's the smaller rocks that you can start to focus on. So it's worth mentioning that. As a coach, I always like to kind of break things out like that, because not everyone needs to do this right away. But you certainly can if you're noticing that, okay, I'd like to fine tune things and get better results.